Hi guys, my name is Victor Blanco, and today I will be talking to you guys about how to handle encounters with police, and the tips and examples I provide today will hopefully benefit you guys in the future. So we have all seen on social media or the news numerous amount of times of police officers taking lives of unarmed individuals, and it's turned into an epidemic nonetheless in the last 10 years, and I think we can all agree on that. So today I'll provide you with 3 tips and 3 real life examples, and the real life examples are mainly to gain a sense of, or just be a little more relatable to you guys because I have gone through this the most, and I will focus on traffic stops specifically because that is what I encountered the most, and you guys most likely have as well. So number one would definitely be body language. So when an officer's coming up to your window, you don't want to look tense at all because that will set off the officer's alarm because they are trained to sense or recognize that. So you don't want to seem stressed. You want to have your shoulders just relaxed. Also, hand placement, finger fidgeting. You don't want to do that at all as well. Um, you guys have seen on the news a lot of people have been shot because they move around in their car not knowing what to do with their hands. So you just want to place it on the steering wheel or your lap if possible. Just relax. Also, sweating. I know that not everybody gets, when they're nervous, they don't sweat. Personally, I do. So that's why I want to give this tip, just in case you are just like me. So you don't want to sweat. You want to just relax. It's really uncontrollable, honestly. Just try your best because it will be pointed out by the officer every time. He will claim that you're nervous because you're sweating. So you just want to try your best not to allow that to happen. And also eye contact. When you speak to somebody and you show them your full attention and direct eye contact, and in regard to a traffic stop, it really de-escalates the situation because it gains a sense of respect also with the officer because he knows you care about why he's stopping you, and maybe if it's you're not guilty of it, just do it just to leave the situation unarmed and safe. The next one is definitely to know your rights. The First Amendment right is to remain silent. You're allowed to remain silent if you would like. Give the officer what he needs, what he requests. Nothing more than your license and your registration, the basics on a traffic stop. Also, you would want to, if the situation seems to escalate, you want to express your lawyer's information and let him know that you have representation if something were to happen, just so the officer knows you know what you're talking about and that it will make it difficult in court if it happens to go there. Also, on knowing your rights, you do not want to consent to any searches, even if you don't have anything illegal in your car. I have seen many instances where drugs or something is planted into your vehicle by the police trying to meet a quota, or you just never want to consent to searches no matter what it is. If that means they have to request canine units to go around your car, then it has to come to that. But if you know you're fine, then you have nothing to worry about. You always want to make sure about your surroundings. That is tip number 3. So you want to remember every detail of the stop, just in case this happens to go to court. You can let your lawyer know every single detail about the stop. So you have your facts right, and if it doesn't match up with the officer's statement, it's word for word. So the judge will try to judge it out as in a basis of his word against yours. So you always want to come prepared with facts and every single detail about the stop, and you want to let your lawyer know exactly what happened, so there's no confusion and no misunderstanding in the statement. Also, you want to ask for their name and badge number every time. So if you feel disrespected in any type of way, or you feel that the stop was based on your race, if you're being racially profiled, you want to get their name and badge number so you can eventually turn this into a lawsuit if possible. Or if you just want to report it to your local sheriff department or police department. Personally, it's up to you. It depends on what situation you're in. But you always want to get the name and badge number. And The last one under know your rights would, always make sure of your surroundings would be look for possible witnesses. Just make sure your surroundings, know where you're at. If you're in a remote area, you could get very nervous because we know what officers are capable of, but we shouldn't have that mentality towards every officer because when there's bad, there's good, and vice versa. So not every officer is bad, and they're not all looking to ruin your day or your life possibly. So definitely look around you. Make sure if something goes wrong, if you see somebody walking down the street, know what they're wearing. So if something were to go wrong, you can always bring them to court or use them as a witness. So you always want to know your surroundings. So a recap of those three is body language, knowing your rights, and always make sure of your surroundings. So going back to real life examples, my first time I was ever stopped, I was turning into a cemetery because I saw a friend that I haven't seen in a while, and I parked on the side of the road, which was probably my first mistake. So hopefully you guys can learn from my real life examples so you don't have to go through this. So I stopped on the side of the road, and the police officer knew that the individual I said hi to was affiliated with drug sales, so he thought that was going on, and which was not the case. So when he put the lights on, I knew that's what he thought immediately. So I relaxed. I knew what he was coming for. So you always want to be prepared. You always want to have a story, not made up. Hopefully it's factual, but if you have to make one up, that's up to you. I just let him know that it was a fellow classmate that I haven't seen in a while, and I was just saying hi, and he kept questioning me, and my first mistake was to allow him to keep doing that. I should have just remained silent, gave him what he needed, and I consented to a search, which was my first mistake, and that's how we learned. That was my first stop. As of now, I would never do that without requesting a canine unit if that's what it had to come to. So that is my first mistake. Do not consent to searches. Do not consent to searches, and have your story added up. Don't change your story because that will trigger an officer. The next one would be my almost reckless going back home from work. This was at 1 a.m. I was going way over the speed limit, but when you gain a sense of understanding with the officer, you just wanna relax and let him know what happened. It was at 1 a.m, so nobody was on the highway, and I got myself out of that situation, luckily. My last one would be speeding in a school zone. My mistake, I was going 35 on a 25, I believe. And when I know I do something wrong, I admit to it. So you always want to let the officer know you did something wrong, and he'll understand with you. Sometimes they'll work with you, sometimes they won't. You cannot get upset if they don't because you did break the law. So you always want to have a sense of understanding. So in conclusion, these tips are basically to keep you guys safe and to know everything you need to know when you're in regards to a traffic stop. You don't want to seem confused, nervous, tense, everything I went through in the speech. You just want to relax, let the officer know exactly what happened, and hopefully you guys you won't be a statistic on unarmed individuals being killed by the police. Thank you for listening.